Hello and welcome to Visibility with Sonia, where I interview dynamic people who are making waves in their community in the areas of business, culture, and lifestyle. Today, my guest is none other than Jaja Soze. He is a hip hop artist and an activist who is a legend in the underground hip hop scene. He is also known as a pioneer to the UK street music and also a major figure in the growth and development of one of the biggest street crews in the UK. The PDC crew were notoriously known for their gang affiliation. Jaja later changed the crew into a music group and recording label. With a large catalogue of music, their own music studio, poetry band and a charity company, Jaja inspires a large section of the young community through business, activism and music. Jaja, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. So when you were young and you was at school, what did you aspire to be?
When I was young, I think when I was like primary school days, what did I think I wanted to do? I think I wanted to be a scientist or something like that. I think I was a scientist. I was just always wanting to mix things up in like potions and just I think I was intrigued with the whole like getting animals in jars, and I just was intrigued with all that stuff like little bugs and ants, and that was kind of my first kind of creative influence when I was younger. So and I associated that with a scientist for some reason. I was wanting to be a scientist. At first, but that was very short-lived. That was very short-lived, and I kind of, as time grew up and I got a bit more mischievous and I got more like running around and that, I kind of wanted to be a revolutionary kind of figure. That kind of changed because my culture
Dr.
that I was
Martin
in.
Luther King.
I grew up a Rastafarian, so kind of learning about Black history and who we are, the kings and Africa and that, and then I started thinking, and because I saw it with like it wasn't acceptable to kind of at that time people really talking about it. So it's like you're the outlaw. I think I kind of drew to that like that kind of outlawish kind of figure of being a revolutionary. And I kind of took to that straight away.
But you said you grew up in a Rastafarian household, and I know that they're very conscious and they're very studious people. So what kind of things did your parents teach you as a young boy?
My dad was so when a lot of kids probably was reading like comics and that, I was reading there used to be some big books, what it was called again, encyclopedias, the green ones, the ugly ones, we had loads of them. So I was reading those books, like reading about like different continents, countries and different languages, and I was reading about stuff like that from a young age, and a lot about Africa and where we come from, and just that we wasn't what people are saying was. So I kind of knew about myself from an early age. I'm very proud. So that's how I was learning. That was my education from a young age. So I always knew the importance of self from a very young age.
So you used to live in Birmingham and you came to London when you was how old?
I came to London when I was like, I think 10 years old. 9, 10.
And how did life change for you? Because, moving from, it's almost like moving to a new country actually, you have to integrate with new people. There's a transition period that goes on, new friends, new even a new culture.
New everything. It's just like you said, it's like moving to a whole new world. And when you're that age young, it's like, wow. London was very fast as well. Coming from Birmingham. Birmingham was fast, but not as fast as London. So when we came there, it was like a whole new, and then obviously the language, the accent. The accent. Everyone would tease my accent at first. So I got into a couple fights and that for my accent, and but I just found it very fast in London, very fast, and a lot of it wasn't as cultured as Birmingham was at the time. So I kind of had to like adapt to that kind of thing. I remember coming to London, and I'll never forget when I was in school and someone said to one of the kids, is it you African bubble or something? And I was like,
what's that?
Why are you saying that for? Like, I was baffled at why you, like, they would diss like there's some of the Jamaicans on would diss the Africans, and it was like, I was like, but in Birmingham that wasn't happening. So I was like, well, what's happening there? Like, what's this about? I didn't understand it. So I even had a couple of fights defending people because of that as well, because I knew about Africa. So so I was thinking, well, that's not true what you're hearing. So I kind of had to deal with those kind of issues in London, and that was kind of the only things I had, and the unsettlement of the family, because obviously we went through like hostels and that kind of thing, and the never being housed in one place and just moving, this very unsettling.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to deal with that at a young age. And
so when did you come to Brixton?
I came to Brixton. I think we moved around to hostels and different places, and we came to Brixton in 1991. 1991, and I came to Angeltown straight away, and I was like, yeah, this is like it felt vibe. Yeah, I felt the vibe straight away, and there was a very strong community in Brixton. We came to this Angeltown estate, and it was like a large community, and it felt very like family orientated. Everyone was like together, and I kind of fit in straight away.
So tell us about your journey into the gangs.
So it was like I always say to people that the whole gang thing started at the time. There was a crew called the 28s that was very big and popular in Brixton at the time. So a lot of people was influenced by the 28s and wanted to be like the 28s. Growing up, so we were just little kids in the park. We were playing in the park, and there's a park in Angel called Little Angels. We were playing in the park, and
Little Angels.
Yeah, and then
little devils,
just
right?
saying to you, yeah. So we were just little kids, so we wasn't even seeing ourselves as doing bad stuff. Even when we started playing like the 40-40 and the he's and just playing around like as kids do, and then you start wanting stuff as you get a bit older. You start wanting like trainers and the latest fashion, and obviously your mum can't provide those things at that time because they're expensive. Yeah. So then you start looking out for other means.
So can I just bring you back? So when you came to London, there was a relationship breakdown with your parents, right? Yeah. And so your mother, you had how many of you siblings?
At the time there was four of us, kids. So my mum was probably like at that time probably like around 25. Yeah, 25. So she was young. Four kids, yeah. So four kids, and that was a lot. At the time I just thought it was like your mum with kids, but now when I look back, I'm like, wow, mum was young. Yeah. So now I understand the pressure that she was going through. But yeah, so yeah, there was I was basically put in the position of the man in the house from young, so I always had like responsibility where I didn't really want responsibility. I was thinking I want to do kid stuff, but I had to do grown man kind of stuff, and I didn't want to do that. So you got forced into,
like wash up the dishes, take the dustbin out,
and just organize the house. Like mum's gonna work, so you got to do this. Make sure your sister does that. Make sure this happens. Make sure that happens. Make sure they go to school on time. Make sure you're in school on time. Come back from school. Do that. I'm like, whoa, and I just want to play. I just want to go and play. And then so that responsibility, you kind of rebel against that. You're angry because you have that responsibility, and that kind of makes the rebellion start. Even though my rebellion was there already, so it kind of added on to the rebellion I had already. And then that made me, when I started having to provide, I had no fear in me, so that will make you do more serious things. So that added on to my reputation. So then we were just young kids playing, and I think at the time there was a some of the older boys were saying "pill them," like doing robberies and saying "pill them." It's like a Jamaican patois term for robbing, taking away from people. So we kind of adapted that saying, and then we started saying it, and then people started saying, "Oh, that's the Pilden crew, the Pilden crew," and then we started that kind of like adapting to us. It wasn't even planned or nothing. It was like we just like following the older guys that was before us, and we kind of ran with that name, and then it started getting to like from burglaries to robberies, to robbing banks. And then I went to prison when I was 15.
But at a younger age, you knew that, you know, you were gonna go to prison.
From I got to like 12. I was that like not all the other kids they planning for college, university. I was just planning to go to jail. I was like, by the time I get 15 and 16, I'm gonna be in prison. Like,
and is that something that you looked forward to, or were you apprehensive?
You didn't look forward to it, but you just knew you was gonna go there because what I'm involved in and where I'm going, and I don't see no other or no route or alternative out of this situation. So, having common sense is like you're definitely gonna go to prison because no one ain't offering me no other solutions or opportunities. So all I'm gonna be doing is getting more and more into this situation, and then I'm gonna get caught soon enough. So I just knew I was going to jail. All my other friends, like people I knew, they were saying, "Okay, we're going to college," and I was like, I went to college for a little bit. I think I got kicked out of school. I went to college early. Because they knew I was a bit mature for my age, so they sent me to college when I was like, I think 14 or something, and I got kicked out again, and I went straight to prison. So I think I just never was, it wasn't feeding me out, and I knew I was going to jail, so you kind of give up on anything, because you're like, I'm going to jail anyway. So I gave up.
So when you went to jail, what was the first thing you went to jail for?
I went to jail for bank robbery in 1996, I think, 1996.
And how long did you stay in there?
And I got a 3-year sentence at the time. At the time, everyone was like, "Oh, 3 years." You're only 15. Wow, like it was a knock. I think my first realization that what I was involved in was when I was in the court, and even though when the judge said 3 years, I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
I still wasn't taking it, so I was like, oh, whatever. Right. And then when I went down to the cell, and then they come down with like a sheet with like your sentence and your release date. When I saw that, it's like it hit me.
Yeah.
It's like went bam, and it was 1990. We were just coming to 1996.
Yeah.
And I was coming out in the end of 1998. When I saw that, I said, "Oh my days!" That's kind of when. And at the time, I remember people saying the world's gonna end in the year 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember people saying, I was like, "Oh my days, I'm finished." That's when it kind of all hit me. Yeah, and that's when I kind of like, damn, this is for real. Yeah.
And how was life in jail? But you were 15 years old,
Yeah,
right? So you was in a young offenders.
Yeah, I was in
jail.
young offenders. So it was. At the time, all my friends was in prison as well. So when I got there, we was kind of Brixton was very popular at the time. So yeah, it was like school, but you just locked up for 23 hours a day.
Yeah.
But it's just like being in a school. Like so, I knew everyone. Yeah, and it's just like at the time it was like there was no TV. 23-hour bang up. Yeah. You come out for 1 hour to have a shower and to use a phone, and then you have your meals 3 times a day. And that was it. In your cell, you have like your green blankets and a little radio. Yeah. That's kind of how I, from that radio, I remember that's how I started listening to like talk radio and stations that I would never have listened to before. Like they were just talking, and I started listening to stuff, and I kind of got into like learning about other things again. That's when my the kind of education side started kicking back in again, because I started listening to certain topics, and I started getting a bit into it. But tell us
about your second stint in prison, because that's when the change really came about, isn't it?
When I went I came out, I started doing events and whatnot. It was kind of got big. I didn't get no help, so I thought, you know what, let me just try it. Right. Let's go back to the streets. And I didn't want to do robberies now, so I said, let me try something else. So I went into the drug game, and I started making a lot of money, started doing a lot of things, and then I got caught again. And in 2002, I got 4 years for selling drugs. Went back in this time. This time I was a bit older now, so I was like pissed from the get go. So I went in. I was from everything. I was just mad. Yeah. Like it wasn't like last time I was kind of like chilling. This time I was like, oh my days. Now I knew what I was getting involved in. I knew where I was gonna go to. Yeah. So I went to prison. I just saw this time I was in a older, bigger man jail. So I saw like loads of the older lots that I grew up with, that I grew up looking up to. Yeah. Yeah. So one particular time I went into a cell, and there's one of the olders that was on my estate that I grew up with. Yeah. He was doing a life sentence. Wow. And then he was talking, and he was just talking about all these stuff, like he's not gonna see his kids again, and this and that, and his life's for over, and if he does come out, it's gonna be like 70 or something, 78.
And how did that make you feel?
And I was like, when he was talking, I was just thinking, oh my days, I don't want to be like him. Yeah. No way. So basically, all you got is your reputation, and that doesn't mean nothing. So I was like, I don't want to be like this guy. Yeah. So that's when it kind of first kicked in, and then he went out, and I moved into a cell with a white guy, and it's like an old East End gangster. Yeah. He's doing life as well. So I was like, oh, what's this with all these lifers, man? Yeah. So I'm in the cell with him, and then he started saying, no, we was talking, and then he was saying, no, there's something different about you. Yeah. You're not like your usual kind of thug, kind of like the way you speak and the things you speak about. There's something different about you. Like you're not your usual. Maybe you can do something different. He's like, he said, maybe after this sentence you should do something different. And I was thinking, and he said, well, get a job or something. I was thinking, I'm not gonna get a job. Like I've never had a job my whole life. I don't even know what to do. I wouldn't know how to act or nothing. Yeah. And then he said, you just use something then that you've got that you can make progressive. So for like the next couple of nights, I was just thinking about it for long, and then I said, you know what, a PDC, that our crew, that's all I've got as like that is something. And then I started thinking, how can I utilize it? I said, you know what, I'm gonna turn that into a recording label. Yeah. So when I had that idea, I went to the education department. I told the teacher, I said, listen, I got my crew, PDC. She's like, what? That crew that everyone talks about? What you gonna do with that? I said, yeah, I want to turn it into a legal, a registered business. She laughed straight away. She's like, what? What PDC? What, the gang? I said, yeah, I want to turn it into a recording label, registered, legal, proper, like bank account, everything.
Right, so is that when you changed the meaning of PDC? Yeah. So it was no longer Peel Them Crew. It now became...
It became Poverty Driven Children. Right. Yeah, so I said to her, I'm going to change the concept of it. Poverty Driven Children, Pray Days Change. We're going to use positive concepts. Yeah. we're gonna turn negative into a positive.
Yep.
And then
Absolutely.
that's the first time I started doing my business plan. I didn't know what business plan was,
Yeah.
so they helped me do a whole business plan. Then I came out, and then that was the birth of like a whole new chapter of PDC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now tell us, what does PDC do?
So now we got record. The main structure of PDC was a recording label.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then from the recording label, we branched out to have our own studio, Brookston Recording Studios, where you're at now. And then we had other brands that we created. So we had a poetry brand. It's a poetry event. We had a Hip Hop Nation brand. And then I got a charity called Indigo Youth that I set up as well to help young people, mentoring. So everything kind of stemmed out of the PDC and branded off.
So tell us a little bit more about the Indigo.
So
Group.
Indigo, basically I set up Indigo, it was to help the young people. I felt when I came out of prison, I didn't know where to go to.
Yeah.
I remember coming out, walking into my state, and I'm thinking, who can I go and speak to? Like what elder or anyone that's got a platform that I can just start or just have some kind of direction from, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
And I just felt lost. So I remember thinking, oh my days, and then I just had to keep just like, it was me that was doing everything. There was no help or guidance. So all the mistakes I was making by myself. I had no one to say, okay, now maybe don't do that, do it this way, or go to those people. You need to do this, you need to do that. I just didn't have it. So I always said, you know what, when I get to a certain position, I'm going to create a platform that young people can go to, and they can get mentoring, help with jobs or whatever they need to access the stuff. And that's why I created Indigo Youth. So since then we've done projects in like Sudan, all over the UK. I've done stuff in Barbados, America. I've done stuff everywhere with the mentoring and doing talks, getting kids into universities and helping them with their career.
So is it safe to say that employers contact you with a list of vacancies that they have, and so when you have your meetings with your young people, you actually say to them, you know, these are the jobs that are available. So do you offer service like where you can help them to fill in the application forms, or you know, pre-interview techniques?
Yeah. So my sister runs. She does all that pre stuff with their things. So I can send to my sister. She does all that side of it, helping them with their CVs and everything, tidy everything up. And then so we get Sony Entertainment or different labels will send us like runner jobs or positions. They send it to me every day, and I'll just send it to the young people and say, here's an opportunity, And sometimes obviously I know some of them, so I use my influence. So I phone them personally and say, listen, we've got this one here, can you like push them in the queue or something and get them ahead that they're in a bad place and need to get in there. And then they'll do that for me sometimes, say, okay, no problem, no. Or they'll just give him the job, say, no, what, we're just going to give it to him, forget it, we're going to delete the thing and give him the job, or give him the position as a runner so he can start. And that's what all kids need sometimes, and I've seen them change their life just from that one little push. That's all they need. And
how does that make you feel as an individual, knowing that you came from the streets, you went to prison, you know, you came from a broken home, and there was nobody who was old enough, well, they were old enough, but there wasn't anybody who you could actually turn to for some kind of guidance. So now that you're in a position where you guide other youngsters, how does that make you feel internally?
Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling, and I'm just happy when they're happy and they got a direction. Cause I just see them as younger me. That's what I look at them and say, you know what, that's how I was when I was growing up. Sometimes people think, oh, you know, they're just bad and they're this and that, they got no manners and that, but I think they're exactly how I was, and they just need direction. So I'm happy and that I can give them a platform, and I'm gonna give them more in the future. I'm saying to you, so this just the starting of stuff. I've got like loads of projects that we're gonna try and do on a bigger scale as well to help more kids.
Have you been working with the British government at all?
Nah. I've done a lot of stuff I've worked with like creative arts council, the lottery, and that for Indigo Youth. For that stuff, I haven't worked with like no government officials or anything.
So for other people who are in gangs and they're really struggling to get out of it, what kind of advice would you give them?
I always tell all the young people that are in positions that it's peer pressure. A lot of the gang stuff is peer pressure, because a lot of kids don't actually. Some of them are not really that bad. Some of them want to really just go and do stuff. And I will say to a lot of them, go and just for one day branch off from your friends. Just go and get advice, or go speak to someone else that's not on the street, and just get a different look and output of life. I'm saying to you, go and just try it. Just go for a runner position one day. Just try something. I always tell them, try something different. That sparks it. You have to try something different. I'm saying to you, just anything, whether it's a runner job, go and work with your uncle for the day or the weekend, follow your mum or your dad to their job for the day. Just do something different out of the ordinary that can spark something they need.
And advice for the elders. older people who are looking at young people and looking down on them, because over here, right, we have a lot of young people who are doing a lot of things that they shouldn't really be doing. So what advice could you give the older generations in order to change the thought process of the young people?
I think there's a big gap between the young generation and the older generation, and I think that's because a lot of the older ones look down on the younger ones. I think what they need to do is reach out to them. I think they reach out a lot. A lot of these kids need hugs. They need elders. They need elders, support, advice, leadership. They need that, and I think the elder lot kind of like dismiss that because of their behavior or their attitude. And I think they need to stop doing that and kind of like reach back out to a lot of the young people. So that's what any elder people that are even watching or listening, they can reach out to someone around them. They don't have to start going out to charities randomly. They can just go to someone close to them. Your nephew, you got a nephew or a niece, or your daughter's son or someone, any young person around you, and reach out to them randomly. Take them out for the day. Let's go. Let's speak. Let me come into your world. What do you lot do? Let me roll with you for the day. Opposite now. Why don't the elders say, you know what? Let me roll with you for the day. What do you lot do? Come. You can chill your brethren on the wall and come in. Let's sit down. I want to chill your brethren.
So if there's anybody that wants to get in contact with your organisation, how do they do that?
They can contact me from my website, www.jajasoze.com. That's for me as an artist. Or they can go for the PDC label, www.pdcent.com. And Indigo Youth is Indigo Youth. They can type Indigo Youth in and they'll see loads of stuff come up. And if they go online, I'm easy to contact them. I'm very accessible.
Jaja, thanks very much for coming to the show today. It's been very insightful and very educational.
Thank you
listening to you today.
Thank you very much. That's what I'm saying. Do you want to bust some lyrics? You can go in there and bust a lyric,
But you know what?
And test it out.
I've always considered myself a singer. Listen, I've spent thousands of pounds trying to get that voice in gear. So this could be my one
chance. That's what I'm
chance.
saying to you. This could be the chance. This could be the X Factor.
Right, we're going there in a minute. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. So be sure to tune into the next episode of Visibility with Sonia, where I help movers and shakers be seen, be heard, and be visible.